And then of course we would have to really get into the details of the specific practices. In general, I mean, this is one of the methodologies that the BCS advises, and I quite like it. It fits in across all these contexts that we just talked about, be it product development, or whether you're trying to improve a process re-engineering, or it's about existing business, how you can try and enhance and come out with a better business strategic solution. All of these different contexts, this particular methodology that we're going to talk about really fits in. I quite like this. So it all starts with trying to understand what the problem is. I mean, I think we already spent some time last time trying to define the problem space, understanding the needs, opportunities, challenges, constraints, and then be able to actually kind of understand and give a problem statement. So you should be able to define a problem statement succinctly enough to understand and communicate to other stakeholders. And from there on, we try and understand what is it that is contributing to this problem? What are the kind of factors, whether they're internal or external, that are actually kind of giving way to this particular problem? Why is this coming? What are the reasons? So we try and understand and do a bit of analysis about that, come up with some kind of ideas, concepts, and then views across different stakeholders. And then we also need to look at the connecting these different dots. So having problem statement is the first step, but then that is not everything. So we need to kind of progress into a broader spectrum of things, understanding and connecting the different dots. So sometimes it could start off with, for example, the customer satisfaction being low, but then that could be the kind of a root cause, or basically a trigger point for you. But then underlying that, when you try and investigate and start exploring, you would find that there are multiple reasons or factors that are contributing to that. One of that could be the quality of the data, the quality of the product itself is bad, or either the communication is very bad from the client to the customers and the users, or there could be something that there is a problem in terms of how the whole framework has been structured. So all of these you would not be able to understand just by looking at, no, oh, this is the problem. And then you need to actually come up with ideas, you as in the team. And here, as BAs, we should try and kind of facilitate and enable the teams to come up with solutions. Remember, again, going back to the previous discussions and sessions, we are not the experts. We are not positioning ourselves as be all and end all. We are only trying to be there to kind of help the team to come up with a better solution to address the problems that we have identified, specified, and prioritized. So that's the kind of, again, the bridge role is what we're trying to play here. And then once we have got different solution options, and then we would need to compare across those different options, contrast, compare, and then come up with one good solution. A case in point for this is basically one of the projects that I did with back in one of the leading banks about 3 years ago. We were trying to evaluate the best data science, self-service data science driven cloud platform. So we had actually done a lot of study with each of these different data sets. We took that, conducted a kind of a POC, as what we call proof of capability. We went to Google, Google GCP. We did a bit of study with Google GCP, going to the headquarters here in London. And then again, we went to Microsoft Technology Center. We again did a lot of deep dive analysis with the data set back in Reading and Slough, where they have got the offices. And then we also partnered with one of the solution consultant with the Amazon AWS, because there's no direct office. Amazon AWS, they tend to work with partners. So we went with one of the partners, and then we actually kind of had a deep dive, and again with the same data set, and then did a POC, came up with all the tool sets, the platforms that each of these vendors offer. And then we kind of did a deep dive, taking 1.5 months for each of these different platforms. And then finally, we kind of evaluated all of these. We compared and contrasted what kind of tooling, what is the solution set, how is the support, even down to the extent of the costing, the pricing, everything. And then we finally came up with one evaluation report, which actually pitted each one of them against other, and we gave the weighted scoring, and finally came up with a recommendation. So that also has both a quantitative aspect of it as well as a qualitative, a subjective thing, and we specified all of these clearly in the report and presented to the senior management, and then they finally opted for the best solution. We went ahead with that. So that's one of the, and sometimes, as we discussed last time, it's not immediately that you're trying to have the benefit of a project. So for example, I just came to know last month that the particular bank had selected the vendor that we had chosen. It's after a good 2.5 years of incubation, because there are a lot of factors that come into picture: politics, economy, and the support from within because the bank, the particular service provider, has got their headquarters based in some other country. So how can we do the billing? What could be the tax implications? All those things, all of these come into picture. And finally, we could actually get to, sort it out after a good 2.5 years of the project being completed. So that again is what I was terming as the benefit realization. So the benefit of a particular project or a product development may not happen immediately after the delivery. It could actually, get accrued over a period of time. And then, of course, the last one, as we were saying, is acceptance finding. It's about identifying and helping the team implement the correct solution or the final solution. And then, of course, going further is basically the benefit realization. So this is one of the frameworks that I really find as one of the methodologies that we can try and adopt as BAs in any context, whether it is product, service, process. It fits in the context of all the different variants that we were talking about, whether it is a data analysis that you're doing, or whether it is user experience, trying to figure out what is the problem with the visual design, or it could be to do with, for example, process improvement, or you're trying to fix a workflow in one of the order management processes in one of the organizations. Again, so all of these, irrespective of which context, which flavor of analysis that you're trying to do, I find this methodology really helpful